Hello everybody, this is Alex from Hardcoring Guides, bringing my guide for Transformers Devastation on Prime difficulty. Today we're doing Chapter 1 entitled City of Steel, and this is going to be the last of the main campaign runs. We're going to be doing everybody in one singular campaign. I'll be switching off between characters whenever we go to the arc, basically when it's on the main route. I should explain that real quick. If it's on the main route to where I'm going, I'll be switching off, and then we'll be switching off every chapter. So I'm also going to be leaving in a little something new for once. I'm actually going to be leaving these in for your viewing pleasure, of course. I'll be showing off the introductions to all the characters, or the enemies. My bad. So, yeah, we are playing the original scenario, which basically means that we're going to be playing Optimus, or Bumblebee, and then Sideswipe, and then we can switch off to Wheeljack and then Grimlock in the same chapter. But for right now, we're going to be fighting the basic mooks of the game. These are the easiest enemies to really take on. They have the lowest amount of defense, and they reasonably go down quite quick. Well, of course, that goes with being defensive. But, yeah, realistically, all you need to do is just batter them up, dodge them whenever you can, whenever you see a dodge coming. I do actually have the ability purchased to allow me to dodge even if I take damage, and looks like I get the... Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is where I get the kill from, that overdrive. By the way, for those that are not aware of how my Transformers Devastation project has worked so far, I do actually have max level for every character. That includes level 99 in every field, every stat, and I just have not the most strongest of weapons, but I typically have a couple energon weapons here and there for certain characters, but you'll get to see that when it comes up. So our next batch of enemies is going to be the Seeker enemies, and these are the flying type enemies. You could always just theoretically jump in the air and hit them that way, or you could always just because this game has a finisher vehicle attack system, which by now, if you're watching Prime, you probably already know about it, of course, but for those that don't know or aren't too familiar with it, so whenever you do a finisher in a combo, say for example, a full square combo, right? You will spark blue, and then when you do that, you use your transformation mode to do an instant vehicle attack. And depending on which finisher you're doing, whether it be, a spinning move or whatever, will determine which type of vehicle attack it's going to be. Whether it be a spin out, or whether it be a dashing toward the enemy type move. If you know, because like it's all tied specifically to weapons, and that also includes, of course, like some characters actually have 2 vehicle attacks they can do. I think every character has 2 vehicle attacks, but Bumblebee is the one that benefits from the most. But we'll probably talk about that like at the end of the guide, because by now I kind of assume that most people have probably watched most of my videos on this series by now. I've done a campaign run of every character so far, so if you're wanting to watch those, you can. So I'll try my best to re-explain how this game works for those that might not be familiar with it, just in the off chance. Which by then, I don't know. Also, I don't really know why, I don't know why health is not getting picked up. And right there, I saved my overdrive mainly just because on accident I saved it, but it came in clutch there. For those that are wondering, there are a couple of Seekers up on top of these buildings right here that are just shooting you down. They don't fly toward you, but they're just really annoying. So it's a lot easier just to use Optimus's overdrive to take them all out at once. And now we're going to go fight the first main boss, which is going to be Devastator. But, yeah, so this is more of a celebration guide, and I'll be trying to do the best I can to make it like I used to do back in the day for guides, and with a little bit of extra fluff to make it a little bit more cooler, because this is essentially the last campaign guide I plan on doing for the project. It's definitely the last one for the project, though. I might come back and do more Transformers in the future, but who knows. Yes, I did die. I did die to Devastator, I'm sorry. But anyway, back to the finisher stuff. So, if a Seeker is too far away for you to reach up to, or even in this case, like even for Devastator, you could always theoretically do an attack that you know for a fact has the vehicle attack, which allows you to dash toward them. And you can just do that without hitting anybody and do the finisher, and it will just launch you right toward where they're at, which can save you some trouble in the future, if ever needed. Also, real quick, the weapons I'm using, which I'm using Loudspeaker, which does stuns to basic enemies. Let's just say humanoid-sized enemies. The Loudspeaker just does stuns on them, and then the other gun I have is just like a rifle gun. If you do shoot enemies in the head, you do more damage, and you can also have a chance to trigger a vehicle attack. And as far as I'm aware, which is kind of funny, because like I never really aim for the head, it just kind of happens. You'll definitely see it more often when I'm playing Bumblebee, but I'll show you my steps on how I deal with Bumblebee. But to go into it real quick while I have the chance, Devastator's not too bad. He's just big, bulky. If you knock him down enough, he'll eventually fall down. Hit him in the head, do more damage. That's kind of what you want to focus on. And whenever you get a chance to use your ability with Optimus, go ahead and use it. And yeah, I am using Energon weapons, as noticed here, because it just makes things a little bit easier. And also, whenever you're aiming in your gun, after you do some attacks, it seems to slow down the game a little bit, so that will help you get some extra little bits of damage going. I'll talk about Optimus Prime probably in the future part of this particular chapter, because I didn't have much time to talk about him now. If you want a more full in flesh guide, definitely recommend watching the original Transformers, Optimus campaign on my channel. Because for right now, this is going to be, again, we're going to be switching off between characters that, every time I get a chance to switch, we will. Well, not every chance, but very specific chances. I'll make it work, don't worry. So, we don't have to fight these at all. It just, I left it in because I left it had a cutscene to it. And whenever we find new enemies, I will leave the cutscenes in for you guys to just kind of, just for the fun of it. Because, why not? We're celebrating not only just the game, but we're also celebrating the fact that I've done, 10 different guides of this damn thing. But for Bumblebee's arsenal, I did kind of stick with the... I stuck with the claw weapons, so because he does kind of start with fists anyway, and I felt like it would make more sense to just kind of keep it that way for him. But I do have another weapon. I think it was a Energon sword, like a regular single sword, I think, equipped. So that way, in case I need to, change it up a little bit or whatever, I can. Real quick about Bumblebee. So Bumblebee is one of the best characters in the game, if not the best. And one of the reasons why he's one of the best is simply because he constantly has two different vehicles. He always has two vehicle attacks no matter what finisher you're doing, which is great because some characters have double, every character has a double attack, but it depends again on the weapon as far as I'm aware. And the other thing too is his actual ability, his L2 ability, allows you to slide underneath enemies and then you can get a back attack which will do an immediate stun. So if you don't have loudspeaker on, you want to, if you're fighting off a regular leader Decepticon or whatever, I say leader, but more like Megatron, Shockwave, those kinds, Soundwave, those types of enemies. Like the main boss of the game. If you want to use loudspeaker on them, go ahead. If you don't have it, then a stun back attack would also work pretty well too. For Sideswipe, I don't have him equipped that well. As far as I know, real quick, I think he's like the fastest character in the game. I think his top speed, his top stat speed just seems to be the best, as far as I'm aware. So I think that's like the main thing that comes with it. He does have a dash attack, but I will not be using it very often. It's not finicky. It's really kind of obtuse, especially for a difficulty like this. And this is where I feel like Sideswipe doesn't really shine very well, is because he doesn't really have much advanced stuff that he can really do. He does have double attacks more often than not than, say, like Optimus or Wheeljack or whatever. Because, right there, that spin-out move allows you to go in for a double attack, or a double vehicle attack. But I feel like sometimes with Optimus Prime it doesn't always happen. It's not random, by the way. I'm pretty sure it's based on, as far as I'm aware, it should be based on which finisher you're going to do. So it should always be confirmed, if I'm doing this finisher, it's going to give me another one or not. And again, that all goes back into your weapons. I think when I get to the arc, I do show off what equipment I have. So if you want to kind of follow along with what type of stuff I do have equipped, then, we'll have to wait for a little bit to get there, but you'll definitely see it in this video. Besides Swipe's Overdrive, which is basically like his ultimate attack, it is a pretty decent one. Bumblebee has a good one. Optimus has a good one. Wheeljack. Actually, yeah, Wheeljack's was pretty good. Grimlock's okay. I think Grimlock, in my opinion, probably is the weakest of them all. Also, this is a side mission. You don't need to do this. You're not locked out of doing anything at all. You could just shoot the red bombshells and you could be fine. But anyway, so Sideswipe is a pretty okay character, albeit I do like his dash move. I think it's cool, and I think I start utilizing it a little bit more often in this game, but I don't feel like it gets used very often or really kind of works out the best compared to other people's abilities. But definitely better than Wheeljack's, in my opinion. And I'm mainly talking about specifically for Prime. Also, I think I know why the yellow cubes were not, or why the health cubes were not getting picked up, and I think it's because I had a certain tech equipped. Oh yeah, ice weapons, frost weapons will freeze enemies, so keep that in mind. And when you're fighting these Seekers, these shielded Seekers, you kind of want to wait them. You want to wait for them to kind of come close to the ground and shield up, and then just go immediately for either a dodge, hold heavy, or just a vehicle dash attack, which is like that, where you just go into vehicle mode. You're basically into speed mode, and then when you're in that, you do a square or triangle move, and it'll let you do a dash attack. We'll call them dash attacks for those that are not aware. Because as far as I know, I guess it's called rush attacks, actually, technically speaking, but I call them just dash. It makes more sense for me, I guess. That's the way I've been calling it for a while. So, by the way, we're not gonna be going off the beaten path. I'll be focusing mainly on going the main way that I've been going for the entire game, for the entire guide. That way, we just don't get sidetracked, and at the same time, we don't waste time, and also so that way I don't have to be forced to like go back into the arc every 5 minutes or after like every boss or every fight or whatever. You'll see it happen in Chapter 2 more specifically, but for right now we're just going to be playing through the main campaign and have all 5 characters show up, and then Optimus will be at the end. So that's how that works. Real quick for Megatron, you just gotta basically rush attack him. That's all you gotta do for this. Well, I got kind of lucky there. I don't know why he was still off his high horse, but I got lucky enough to where he still was off, so I could beat him up. But when you do catch up to him again, you just want to do another rush attack, and when you break him down, I know I said rush, but do dash, but it's the same thing. So you just want to beat him up, and one of the tricks that I've learned over the years is whenever you're playing, especially when you're playing Bubble, like anybody really works with it, but machine guns help out a ton with this type of stuff. If you do a vehicle attack on somebody and then immediately aim with your gun right after, even if it's in the middle of Bumblebee's double attack, if you do like one vehicle attack with Bumblebee and then you aim and then shoot, you can do another vehicle attack, and then after that vehicle attack, you can do another one Bumblebee. It's great. So keep that in mind. I'll be doing that a lot, especially with Sideswipe and Bumblebee respectively, because to me they're the easiest characters to do it with. And that real fast, you'll be seeing this move a lot, by the way, especially on ground soldiers, like the big giant hammer ones. You'll be seeing that a ton. That is, of course, the dodge. I'm holding triangle while I do a dodge uppercut move. It's really good. It breaks shields, and it gives you pretty much a free iframe attack, which, by the way, vehicle attacks have just tons of iframes. And also, well, they're called rush attacks, but the dash attack moves I do, they also have like a ton of iframes as well, so keep that in mind. And by the way, this is not a double S. This is not a double S run. I may at one point in the future possibly do it, but we'll see. And real quick, this is mandatory. You have to come in here no matter what. I don't have a choice. But luckily, when you beat the campaign once, you do have access to all the characters at the start, so we can just immediately pop in and just hop right into Wheeljack. But actually, okay, yeah, before I did that, I have to show you what stuff I have equipped. So just take a peek and try to make your thing. You know, if you want to make your stuff kind of like mine, go ahead. If you've got better stuff to work, or better stuff in your equipment load, then go right for that. Personally, for me, melee attack and dodge stuff are the key tech. Damage and dodge are like the two things I can specifically recommend if you're going tech. Back in the day, I didn't want to do tech on my stuff. I did with Optimus because I was not thinking about it at the time. But later on in the other guides, I tried not doing tech. I tried not using items. Which, by the way, in chapter... It's either this one or chapter 2. I do actually die with Wheeljack. And I'm trying to make it to where I don't die in the entire campaign at all. To make it a seamlessly perfect video. But, hey, you know, this wouldn't be a celebration guide if I didn't, you know, if I didn't die, right? Because, like, that's a thing that just normally happens. I tend to die. And if we get to a point where I want to use items, then that's fine too, but I'll try not to use them too much. But here we go. Starting off with the Constructicons. We're going to fight, I think, the first two Constructicons with Wheeljack. No, I think it's just the first main two. And then after that, I think it's Grimlock I play. But these guys, with Wheeljack, I'm going to be doing the same thing I did the last time, where I'm just going to be dodging and trying to go for a uppercut. Real quick, I'm not the biggest fan of Wheeljack. I don't really care much for his ability. You won't get to see it very often, so I do apologize for that. His ability is a shield. It's just not. It's not for me in this difficulty. These enemies are too aggressive for that to work on. So I just stick with the basics and just go with that. I go survivability then style, to be quite honest. Yeah, I'm kind of flubbing up a lot of the holding heavy attack thing here, and the problem is Wheeljack's finisher, though, that's what kind of bugs me. Yes, it's cool that he shoots out missiles at an enemy, but there is an attack, I forget which one it is, that lets you dash toward them after you shoot off a missile. Which, if you wanted to, now that I'm thinking about it, now that I actually saw it in action, really saw it, I should be doing that from now on, actually. Shoot a missile, then shoot your gun if you have a machine gun. Especially with machine gun. Machine guns, I think, work a lot better for this type of stuff. Shoot machine guns so you can get that secondary focus attack, so you can get that dash in. Because dashing in toward an enemy is going to help you out massively. Now, any particular advice with these guys at all? Like, if you know dead offhand exactly which burnout move or which finisher goes into his spin attack, because Wheeljack's spin attack drops bombs, and it's incredibly useful. If you do know which move that is, then go for that. That's a lot better. Which, to be fair, I guess that's kind of like what I'm half doing here, but I'm just flubbing it up so bad. Because this is the Constructicon fight, and let's be honest, I'm playing Wheeljack, and I'm not the best at him, man. I've never been. I'm glad that he's here. I'm glad that he's here. I'd rather him be here than not, but I wish they would have made him just a little bit better. Maybe having like a bubble shield that maybe stayed in one place, which I know this game, it's hyper aggressive, especially on prime difficulty, so it's like staying in one place is bad. But I still feel like it would probably get more use if it was just that than it was the singular arm shield. And real quick, I could have easily gone around the other way and potentially skipped going back to the Ark, but I wanted to play Grimlock anyway for this chapter, so I think this made more sense. And because this is a different one going toward the direction I'm trying to go toward, I'm going to go ahead and instantly switch to Grimlock. Something else I forgot to do in my Grimlock campaign was tapping circle to run. It just gets you an auto, speed up charge, so you don't have to, take forever to charge up and run. Completely negated it, completely forgot about it like an idiot. So yeah, there's that. And watch out for the guys behind you shooting guns, because, you get a dodge off them, but still, they're back there and they're really annoying. Alright, next up for the second Constructicon fight. Yes, you have to fight all 6. If you're not familiar with this, you do actually have to fight all 6. And the third specific fight, is more of a pain in the ass than the other two. To be completely fair, I think that the other fight that I could have gone and did with Mixer is much more painful than this one. But real quick, for Grimlock, I have equipped the hammer. I have an Energon hammer, actually, because he is one of the 2 characters that actually can wield a heavy weapon. Optimus Prime and Grimlock both can wield hammers. However, I'm obviously struggling here, which is the problem with this fight in particular with using the hammer, is because even though it's a really good weapon, it's so hard to get going unless you just have the ability to just be in the air and then do like a triangle slam. So I will warn you guys, I am using the hammer for most of Grimlock's campaign. That's what he'll be subjected to. I'm going to try to use the hammer as much as I possibly can, is what I'm trying to say. But just in the off chance that things get a little bit dicey, like it was with this fight, I will be relying solely on the Energon sword. They're both Energon weapons, and mainly because, he was the last character I played, but he works wonders with the hammer. I love the hammer, but again, it's kind of hard to get going when you're getting aggressively beat up all the time. But don't worry, there's a time and place for it. Don't worry. There are good potential chances that you can land a good hammer attack. It's just that with Constructicons, they're quite fast. So something to kind of, be on the lookout for, especially when you're fighting more than one at a time, which once we get to Chapter 7, yeah, that one might be a little bit more painful. Something else is, when you're playing Grimlock in his Dino form, you have to stop to press circle. You can press circle and stuff, which is nice. He basically acts like he does in his humanoid form, with a little bit of differences, which his abilities are they're both a grab ability. However, each grab ability is slightly different than the other one, but his abilities are really just, his L2 ability is just pretty damn good. So this fight in particular is the most obnoxious Constructicon fight to deal with, because we have to fight Mixmaster along with, was it Scrapper? I wasn't paying attention. I'm sorry, you'd think after all these years I would know, but I just keep getting mixed up because I'm stupid. Mixmaster is going to be a problem, because he's just going to roll around and he's just going to be shooting out green goop at you. So for this fight in particular, if you can, keep your eyes on Mixmaster. You don't have to fight him, but just keep the camera on him, so that way where he's at all times and when he's going to start shooting that green slimy goose stuff at you. because getting away from him and not getting hit by that would save you a lot of trouble, because it does damage and it does, slow you down in time, and you have to wiggle yourself out. Which, by the way, as far as I'm aware, you do have to wiggle out just a little bit, because I think every time I've gotten hit by it, it's like, yeah, I even if I do try to dodge during it, I'm just gonna get hit. But that's his grab ability. For his guns, I do actually have the Confuse Ray still equipped, and the fire gun, the fireball gun. Confuse Ray, though, is really kind of it's more of like an experimental weapon for me. I'm not like the best at it, but I think I kind of get it, because as far as I'm aware, oh, real quick, if there's no enemies around you, don't worry about doing the whole stick. You do the same damage regardless. Also, his rush triangle attack is really good. Might as well start calling him rush at this point. But yeah, his dodging hold triangle is really good, and when he's in his transformed running state triangle move, which is that slam, that AoE slam, is really good. Breaks a lot of shields. You'll be seeing that more often in later parts of the guide, because we don't get to see a lot of that stuff happen right now. But in later chapters, I'm sure you'll probably get to see it. But yeah, Grimlock, cool. I definitely think that he's definitely one of the best. He's, in my opinion, like the second best character, but that's just me. I feel like he's got a lot of really good stuff. Mechanically speaking, his grab potential is pretty damn good. Now, of course, that's just my opinion. I still think Bumblebee is the best character regardless, but if you wanted to put Optimus Prime up to like number 2 or whatever, like that makes sense as well. I can totally agree with that. And if for some reason, Sideswipe or Wheeljack's on your list for number 2, I also get that as well. Real fast, because I am going back on the main path, like I'm not going out of my way to get this checkpoint, I'm actually going back. This is the main way to go back. I will be switching out to Optimus Prime. So that's how that's going to work. Again, you'll see it in Chapter 2, that there's a part where, like, I'm supposed to, like, you would think, after I beat Soundwave, you would think I would go back and switch checkpoints because it's right there, but that's on the path backwards. This was on the path forwards, even though I had to go back. So hopefully that all makes sense. But either way, I'm sure regardless of what I do, you guys will appreciate it regardless. So, because you guys are cool like that. So, yeah. And by the way, if I'm talking way too much, it's because I'm trying to make this like my old guides, where I'm trying to make like a mix of my old stuff and my new stuff, my new way of doing guides. So that way, like, I'm still kind of explaining things that people might not know about, and at the same time, just trying to do my nonchalant, like, hey guys, what's going on? I'm talking, that kind of thing. So we'll hear that every once in a while, but it really depends on the situation. It's like example right now is Devastator. Oh, real fast. Confuse Ray for Grimlock. There's no exact reason besides it's just experimental. Confuse Ray makes it to where enemies will just start attacking randomly and they don't have any sort of pattern going on. As far as I'm aware, I've tried it, and it doesn't seem like you can dodge from their... maybe you can dodge from their attacks. I don't remember. It's been a bit. But... yeah, I guess it really has been a bit, hasn't it? Jeez. I guess I've already forgot. But I do know that I don't think they can attack you while they are confused. So, again, it's just completely experimental. It's not something you need to have on. But make sure when you're doing this, if you're doing a campaign run like I'm doing, we're doing all 5 characters at once, do make sure that you have good equipment for like your weapons, and you have them very specifically tied to which character you think would make more sense with it. So, that's one big suggestion. And back to the Devastator fight. This is just the basic Devastator fight. Nothing's really changing until the halfway mark. So right now, just enjoy it like you did before. Go for headshots if you can. If he jumps back, like he did right there, just go for some headshots from the distance if you have a weapon that's capable of doing that. Because that way, in the off chance you might get a vehicle attack show up, that would be great too. By the way, that drill pounding move, just keep mashing dodge. However, do keep in mind that this game does have the Bayonetta type dodge, where if you dodge too many times, you will kind of receive a punishment for it, in terms of, like, you'll just kind of slow down, have a harder time going back into dodge and mashing it again. However, this game does kind of allow you to dash, or to mash dodge much more often than you would in Bayonetta. So, to be fair, this game is relatively quite nice about it, and even though it does have the Bayonetta damage dodge, as I call it, that's what I'm going to be calling it through the guide, even though I do have that equipped, and it's the same thing as it was in Bayonetta, this one does not take damage. You do not take damage from that at all. if you were to dodge and take the hit, basically. It just negates the hit, and you just get the focus time, so that's how that's going to work. That's why I say, like, if there's too much trouble and you have that move, which you can go buy in the arc, if you do have that move equipped, it will save you a lot of trouble in the future, especially for, like, the Insecticons in Chapter 2, because, man, they get kind of rough. But anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this the best you can. I'll try to maybe not go too hard in the yapping next time, but we'll see. Anyway, that's it. So take care, everybody.